Hello, Jack. If you're looking for the captain, she's in the workshop with Dr. Harlan. Are you pointing at me, Jack?
What is that? A motion detection system?
One of several independent sensors, rigged to trigger detonation.
So, it won't release the spores until it detects something they can feed on. Jack, there you are.
Good. He's finally here.
Dr. Harlan and I were just giving this torpedo the once-over while we waited.
Learn anything useful?
Yeah, it's a death trap.
Not that that's anything he has to worry about. Now then, are we ready to begin?
Affirmative. I'm ready. That is assuming all the details have been sorted out.
Yes, everything's in order. Let's proceed.
Hold on. There's still some particulars that need ironing out here.
There are always going to be unknowns. That's just something we have to accept.
Let's assume this works. Let's assume we open another anomaly and send Jack's consciousness back to the past. What exactly is he supposed to do when he gets there?
Locate an undetonated biomass torpedo and sample the genetic material inside.
So you can use the data to create a cure. Right. I get that. I'm saying, how is he supposed to do it? It's not like he can physically bring the sample back with him. And if he's in a combat shell, it won't be fitted to do a medical scan. How will he collect the data?
He'll have to improvise, of course.
Apollo?
Greetings, Captain Rhodes. I have analyzed the situation and would like to propose a solution.
It's good to see you too.
We can exchange more formal pleasantries later if you like, Captain. For now, if you would please proceed to the holotable.
All right, Apollo, let's hear it. How does Jack get the data from the biomass incubator?
According to Jack's memory logs, the last anomaly caused his protocols to transfer into a Series 10 combat shell. This unit was equipped with a threat scanner, which could be reconfigured to gather data on biomass specimens. Once we've successfully located a biomass torpedo, I will repurpose his threat scanner to collect data from the incubator inside. The collected data should then easily transfer back with us.
Apollo, are you certain you can travel through the anomaly with me?
A copy of my protocols has already been integrated into your architecture. I see no reason why we would not be transported together.
And how do we know you'll be transported to the right time and place?
These anomalies do tend to be somewhat unpredictable.
Perhaps, but I have observed some consistent behaviors. An FTL corruption sent the Estrella back 400 years.
Nearly killing us both in the process.
Correct. And re-engaging that same FTL caused the ship to jump forward, again by 400 years.
Similar conditions, similar result.
Precisely. And the FTL aboard this ship has demonstrated comparable behavior. I expect if we closely replicate the conditions that caused your previous jump through time, we will produce a near-identical result.
In other words, they should arrive at roughly the same time and place where your android first saw the torpedo.
And once they've got the data, how do we get them back?
If the experience is anything like before, my consciousness should return automatically.
That is our assessment as well. Dr. Harlan and I believe Jack's time in the past is directly correlated to the state of the FTL drive. In essence, Jack, the longer the drive here remains active, the more time you'll have in the past.
We'll keep it running for as long as we can. Give you as much time as possible.
The Estrella's fuel cell is exceedingly efficient and will most likely last long enough for us to locate an incubator and collect the relevant data.
Once we disengage the FTL, you should be returned to the present time.
Should? You're gonna have to do a bit better than should.
This is time travel we're talking about. All we have are best guesses.
I understand your hesitation, Captain Rhodes. This situation has inherent unknowns. Ultimately, we must do the best we can with the information we have.
This is the only way we get a cure. The only way we survive. You, me, everyone.
All right. I just wish we had a better plan than let's shove Jack in an anomaly and hope it all works out.
Juno, prep the engineering bay.
Right away, Doctor.
Jack,
It's all right, Liv. I've done this before.
once, by accident.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
I don't know if you're being naive or just really optimistic. Just make sure you come back safely, all right?
Is that an order, Captain?
Well, technically we're both captains, remember? But yes, that is an order.
Acknowledged, Captain. I will do everything in my power to return safely.
The engineering bay is prepped and ready.
Good. Seal all the ship's bulkheads. We cannot risk any accidental contamination once we...
Of course, Doctor. Jack, please enter the control room and the engineering bay below. The control room is right through this door. Sealing the engineering bay now. Engineering bay sealed.
Dr. Harlan? Any inspiring words?
No.
We all believe in you, Jack. To varying degrees.
Your confidence is appreciated.
Can we get started?
Right away, Doctor. Jack, please adjust the dials to connect the fuel cell conduits to the drive core. First conduit connection complete. Both conduit connections are complete.
Good. We are ready to release the ticks into the engineering bay. Once you engage the FTL, they should begin feeding on it and create an anomaly, just like before.
Jack, are you ready for us to release the ticks?
Ready to proceed, Juno.
Acknowledged.
Were the lights supposed to turn off like that?
Don't worry. We're just rerouting power so the ticks can only feed on the FTL drive. Stand by. Releasing tick specimens.
Well, I certainly seem to have their attention.
Once you engage the drive, they should be drawn to the FTL. All systems are ready. Awaiting ignition.
Do it. Engage the FTL. Now.
FTL drive engaged. Biomass FTL interaction confirmed. The ticks are affecting the drive stability.
Here goes. Stay safe, Jack.
Of course, Liv.
Anomalous readings detected.
Take care of her, Apollo.
I shall do my utmost, Captain.
Anomalous readings cited.
Good luck, Jack.
Style identified. A tick just beyond the bulkhead. It appears dormant for the time being.
Can it be avoided?
Given the surrounding topography, no. Though your strategy is sound. Armament from this era won't be particularly effective against any form of the biomass.
Very well. I am ready to engage. Can you unlock the harness?
Done. Now that you are free, I must advise. Operating your firearm will produce substantial recoil. I strongly encourage you to brace by maintaining a firm grip on nearby surfaces.
Acknowledged.
I believe that once we clear the wreckage, we should have sufficient room to maneuver and avoid further ticks. However, direct confrontation is currently our only option. neutralized. Well done, Jack. Warning. I am detecting extreme levels of radiation in the surrounding area.
As 6's transmission indicated, that would also explain the comms interference.
Indeed. Though I should also note, the ionizing radiation correlates with visual spectrum emissions. Avoiding the latter will protect you from the former.
Stay out of the light to avoid radiation. Copy that.
The wreckage ahead contains a shielded view pane. It should offer full protection while allowing us to identify the source of radiation. That power cell is temporarily distracting the tick. Though, a direct hit to the cell from your pulsar would likely cause it to detonate. That sudden dispersion of energy was quite effective. I advise adding that technique to your tactical database, or the civilian equivalent thereof.
My memory archive will suffice.
The debris field ahead offers far less protection from radiation. Extra precaution will be needed to stay out of the light. Furthermore, I am detecting a significant biomass presence. I strongly advise frequent use of your threat scanner to plan an optimal route.
Acknowledged.
It would appear Delta Squad has become familiar with the operation of the torpedoes. Perhaps that is what caused their vessel to crash.
Given that they began investigating the torpedoes in close proximity, that result is highly probable.
From the anomaly.
Is it still stable?
I believe so, at least relatively. Nonetheless, we should remain focused on finding a torpedo if we hope to do so before the anomaly collapses. Shields at 95%.
Operational status report. Delta Squad operating at minimum capability. Activation pods are offline. Delta Actual
Apollo, should we respond?
Negative. The interference is still too great. Nonetheless, I will continue monitoring the situation. Shields at 95%.
Another pulse.
Magnitude minimum. I believe we still have ample time before our forcible return to the future. There is a faint distress signal emitting from a cavern just ahead. Its frequency is similar to Delta 6's earlier transmission. We should investigate. Distress signal located.
It's a CubeSat, one of Delta Squad's recon units.
It appears to be in need of our support. Your armament should not cause the ticks to break focus on the recon sat. We are safe to engage.
I'm picking up your signal in proximity to Reconnaissance Satellite 3. Is that you, 13?
Jack, we have insufficient time for complications. We should keep our relation to this combat unit as simple as possible. I will conduct all communication with you privately, and I must insist we maintain the persona of Delta 13.
Very well, Apollo. Delta 6, this is Delta 13. I read you. Recon Sat 3 was engaged by multiple hostiles. I moved to assist.
I see. 13. Your return is peculiar, but appreciated. It appears Recon Sat 3 would not have survived its perimeter sweep without your aid. So, what is your status? Is your pod operational?
Affirmative. All systems nominal. Rally at your position?
Acknowledged. Recon Sat 3 will lead the way. Destination, Kronos 2 Bridge. I will require your assistance in assessing the bio-torpedoes.
Acknowledged. We are en route. 13 out.
Well done, Jack. Your replication of tactical speech was convincing.
My experiences with Liv have taught me many things. It would appear that improvisation is one of the most useful.
Agreed.
Recon Sat-3. I can see your signal light from here. Proceed with caution. There are hostile interference from the anomaly. Delta 13, status. Are you experiencing malfunctions again?
Negative. No malfunctions detected.
Acknowledged. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles in the area.
Understood.
Recon Sat-3 is detecting a nearby threat. Advise clearing the area before you proceed.
Threat resolved.
Additional threats detected. I recommend enacting the sweep and clear protocol.
All clear. We should keep moving. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%.
It appears you've arrived here intact. Well done.
We need to locate the torpedoes as soon as possible.
Thank you, Delta 6. We should continue our mission immediately.
Agreed. Primary objective: threat assessment of the hostile devices. Secondary objective: establish a warning beacon for passing vessels.
You are unable to reboot, correct? Perhaps I should take the primary objective.
Agreed. A further encounter with the bio-torpedoes would likely result in operational failure on my part. However, I can still provide some assistance. By leveraging the Kronos 2 systems, I have already performed a sensor sweep. In doing so, I have identified a large number of active torpedoes in a nearby clearing. The results are available here on the holotable, if you wish to review them.
Can you push the objective to my ARM computer?
Affirmative. I've also included the clearing's coordinates as the associated location marker, should you need it.
Acknowledged.
You may proceed through here to reach the clearing. I will begin efforts toward our secondary objective shortly. Report back here once you have completed your assignment.
Copy that.
Interference from the Astrea's radiation will continue beyond the arrival of the Ithaca. It is unlikely Delta 6's secondary objective will be accomplished.
We are fortunate to have their assistance, though. Locating torpedoes has saved us considerable time.
Agreed. The alignment of our objectives is fortunate indeed.
Apollo, if Delta Squad was not able to safely perform their assessment, how will we collect our data on the base genetic material?
Unlike the rest of Delta Squad, you have my assistance. I will bring the entirety of my electronic countermeasure suite to bear against the torpedoes. I am certain I will be able to disable their proximity detonators.
Fair enough. I suppose an advanced tactical AI is quite capable of tipping the scales.
Indeed. To that end, I shall now reconfigure your threat scanner for inspecting the torpedo incubators. Stand by. Reconfiguration complete. Your threat scanner should now be able to generate a detailed mapping of the biomass's base genetic material, though the range of the instrument has been somewhat diminished.
I suppose that's a trade-off we'll have to accept.
Indeed. The anomaly is becoming more active. We need to hurry. Dr. Harlan and the captain may be close to having expended the fuel cell. Shields at 95%. Shields at 30%. Shields at 95%.
Apollo, I've located a torpedo. Is this close enough to scan?
Unfortunately, no. We need to reach the forward end of the torpedo, where the base genetic material is housed.
You're certain that we're masked from the detection?
Yes, my countermeasures are holding. It should be safe to approach.
Apollo, is this range sufficient for a scan?
It should suffice. However, the torpedo's shielding is denser than anticipated. For a successful scan, it appears we'll need to expose the base genetic material. I believe that by interfacing with the torpedo, I should be able to reveal the incubator at the forward end.
Do you need me to do anything?
Possibly. I cannot be certain until I have actually accessed the torpedo's systems. I advise maintaining full tactical readiness.
Understood.
I will begin once you designate the incubator for scanning. Jack, we need to find an incubator for scanning.
I've connected conduits from the Kronos activation bay to a mobile reactor. I believe I can repurpose some of the bay's components to act as a warning beacon. With sufficient power, it may be able to overcome the interference.
Acknowledged. I am still proceeding with the threat assessment.
Copy that. Delta 6 out.
Apollo, is it possible Delta 6 could sufficiently power the beacon to warn the Ithaca?
Unlikely. All evidence from both the present and future indicates they will not. I see no reason to dissuade them, though. We should focus on our mission.
Agreed.
Jack, report which incubator you're prepared to scan.
This incubator appears viable.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Interfacing now. This is more complex than I had.
Apollo?
The torpedo's defense protocols have activated. It has locked the incubator and is attempting to power its main drive. It's beginning launch procedures. I will stall for as long as possible. I'm opening access hatches on the front end. The manual overrides within them should trigger a maintenance mode.
Override activated.
Perfect. Take care of the one on the opposite side as well.
Second override activated.
Well done, though the launch procedure is still online. Perhaps we can overheat the main drive. Enabling maintenance mode gave us access to the torpedo's cooling cells. Remove them. The cells are locked behind a protective housing. Lower it. We need to remove all the cells to trigger an overheat. Jack, the launch procedure is nearing completion.
Cells removed.
Perfect. You will need to remove the second array on the opposite side as well. Jack, it's launching. Get clear of the torpedo immediately. Fortunately, I believe there are additional torpedoes in the vicinity. What we learned here will make us more prepared for a second attempt. Shields at 95%. Shields at 95%. Shields at 30%.
I now have the beacon powered. Unfortunately, the range is being severely limited by radiation and interference from the anomaly. I will attempt to boost the signal, though success appears unlikely.
Copy that, Delta 6. 13 out.
Jack, the anomaly is pulsing regularly now. It must be close to collapsing. Shields at 95%.
Incubator located.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
I'm in. My countermeasures are holding, but you'll need to trigger the maintenance mode immediately.
One down.
Excellent. Now for the second one.
Maintenance mode activated.
Indeed, the cooling cells are now exposed. Remove them to trigger an overheat. The cells can't be removed without lowering their housing first.
Cooling cell array clear.
On to the second one.
Additional cells removed.
The drive is beginning to overheat, but the launch sequence is still active. We must resort to brute force. Destroy the drive.
Main drive destroyed.
Launch sequence averted. That finally did it. I am able to unlock the incubator now. And we should do so quickly. It appears we may not have much time.
Incubator exposed.
Excellent. We should begin the scan immediately. Jack, we should scan that incubator. Destabilization detected. Scanning.
Apollo?
Imprinting now. It should not be much longer. Just a moment longer.
Apollo!
Data secured. Well done, Jack.
I suppose now we should simply wait for the anomaly's collapse.
I believe so, yes. It does appear to be fairly unstable at this point. I estimate no more than a few minutes remain.
Very well.
Perhaps there is a way we could signal the Doctor and Captain Rhodes that we are ready to return.
Were that viable, I would have expected them, or you, to have already suggested a means for doing so.
Certainly. However, I was attempting to prompt one of your creative solutions.
I see. The anomaly is going to close any moment now.
Preparing for return displacement. Jump imminent. Jack, are you here as well?
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprising indeed. Our plan was developed under the requirement that the anomaly's collapse would return us to 2537. Had this outcome appeared likely, I would have developed a contingency.
Could the Doctor and Liv reopen the anomaly?
Uncertain, but the probability is low. The necessary resources were almost undoubtedly consumed just to reach this point. And without you, I don't believe they have a safe means for gathering more.
13. Now that the anomaly has subsided, I have run an additional test of the beacon. Radiological interference is still too significant. Nonetheless, the beacon is prepared to transmit continuously once the radiation subsides. As such, I am now shifting my priority back to the primary objective. What is the status of your assessment?
Assessment complete.
Well done. Unfortunately, our lack of extended range communication leaves us unable to deliver your work to Titan Command. Therefore, we must enact the message in a bottle protocol. Report back to me in the activation bay so that we may discuss the details.
Jack, assisting Delta 6 may be our best solution at this point. Both of Delta Squad's objectives are still viable, though unlikely. The radiation may subside in time for the beacon to warn the Ithaca.
And if it doesn't?
Then we follow protocol.
The message in a bottle protocol?
Yes, it is a standardized Atlas procedure. In short, Delta 6 intends to store our assessment in a secure device until it can be recovered.
That information would disrupt the events of this timeline.
That is the intention, to prepare humanity to defeat the biomass sooner.
But then what happens to Liv?
We have no way of knowing. Our own limited experiences are the only concrete information we have regarding time travel. Simply put, there are too many confounding factors to even make an assessment.
I see.
It is, however, possible that once events here stabilize, we will be able to obtain help in returning to the future. Therefore, I advise we wait until the Ithaca or other Atlas personnel arrive. We can then reevaluate.
Very well, then we wait. I will inform Delta.
13. I did not receive a response. Do you copy?
Copy, Delta 6. I'm en route.
Copy. 6 out.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 95%. We should return to Delta 6 and inform them we're ready to proceed.
You've returned. Let me know when you are ready to commence.
Let's begin.
Very well. Your new shell is right over there, awaiting your transfer.
My new shell.
Correct. Protocol dictates we should place the assessment data in the most secure storage solution available, Tier 6 or higher. That Series 11 shell should do nicely.
That should make waiting for the Ithaca far simpler.
Understood, 6. I will transfer when ready.
Acknowledged. I will attempt further optimization of the beacon in the meantime.
I'll prepare the transfer. Initiate through your ARM computer when you're ready. Shields at 95%.